All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Poker News podcast. I am with a guy I'm very excited to talk about. Just seen him less than a week ago out there in Las Vegas when Tony Sinishtaj. Congratulations, man. You are the 2022 Wynn Millions champion for $1.6 million. It's got to feel pretty damn good.
Sounds crazy just to hear it. Yes, it feels great.
And it was, look, I was out there the entirety of the time. I was there for the 2021 inaugural Wynn Millions. It's a very special event, right? It was like 6 days long, 90-minute levels. What's this tournament like compared to a lot of other tournaments that you might play on a regular basis?
I mean, it's longer, it's tougher. Better structure. So,
do you think that's more suited to more suited to your style of play, to have it stretch out like that?
I don't know if I would say that. It's just different, don't get me wrong. I love the one-day turbos.
Right.
Those are some of my favorite tournaments, get them over with. But, like for a tournament like this is the kind of tournament that should be so long, right? There's so much to play for, so many people. Like these tournaments should be long, right? In my opinion.
What was your tournament trajectory like? Like, did you have to fire multiple bullets on day one? Did you just bag right away? Did you bag day 1A, B, or C?
I actually played all of them. I showed up on Wednesday afternoon. My flight lands at like 11 a.m. Wednesday, which was March 3rd, I believe. Flew in, checked into my room, went down, played the satellite. That started around noon. I got in around 1, I believe, and I actually won my seat. Right? I won my seat. I decided to play 1A, thinking that a lot of the satellite winners would also do the same. It turned out to be a bad idea. Like it was a very rough, very tough field. For 1A, I didn't make it through. I had a very tough 1A table. I tried again on 1B. I didn't make it through again. And then finally on 1C, I made it. So I had 3 total bullets, one which I satellited for. And I made it through on the third one.
I mean, third time is the charm because you end up navigating the field. It was 1,075 entries. As we said, it was a long tournament, 6 days. You win it for $1.6 million, which is, a new career score. I was looking over your Hendon Mob, and it's actually quite impressive. So you became a World Poker Tour champ in 2017 for $661,000. So that was the prior career best. You had one other six-figure score for a runner-up finish in the 2013 WSOP circuit, and then all your other cashes, a lot of them, in the 5-figure range, which is impressive because before even winning the Wynn Millions for 1.6 million, you had about 1.8 million in career live earnings, according to the Hendon Mob. So just to do that, with all these sorts of different 5-figure results, really, and a couple 6-figure ones, I think it's really impressive. And it's a testament to how I know you, how a lot of other people in the poker industry know you as kind of a consummate grinder who's been out there, doing your thing.
Yeah, I don't play that many tournaments, but I've been playing for a long time, So I've been around, tournament poker now I was a huge fan for, 7, 8 years. And then I finally got a chance to get in there and compete. And, it's been a long time. And getting the score under my belt is huge. Like it's kind of like, makes everything worth it, like all the time, all the thought I put into the game. So
I mean, and you also play online. The last time we had you as a guest on the podcast was back in September of 2020 after you won. This was during the pandemic. Everything moved online. So the World Poker Tour held their online Borgata series powered by the Party Poker US network. You won that one. We had you on the show, but I knew as soon as you won the Wynn Millions, I had to get you back. And it was funny because, like I said, I was out there and I recall chatting with you throughout the tournament here and there, on the breaks a little bit. And it's always fun to see somebody, continue to go deep. And then I was there at the final table, which was just it was really a tough final table. It was a stacked affair. You had Vanessa Kade, I believe, began as the chip leader. You had Alex Livingston, Isaac Kempton, WPT champ Tony Tran. You had Sean Perry, who's used to the high rollers. What was that final table like for you? And what was your kind of mentality going in?
Well, it was very different than the Borgata online thing where I was chip leader throughout and I was able to leverage my stack, leverage other people's stack, I mean. And it was a much smoother ride in the online thing. And obviously the players aren't as strong as, this tournament. Coming into this one, I had K to my left with over 10 million in chips, and big blind, I believe, was only 60K when we came back. So everybody's very deep. And then except for one person who shows up with 5 blinds. So I knew I was going to be handcuffed. So I had a feeling of what was to come. And, I tightened up my ranges, not opening as much, not playing as many hands. And you're kind of forced to play that way, I believe, because you're making money just watching other people bust. So it pays to, I believe, to play tight.
It seemed that that's what you did. And then I think it was round 5-handed, if I recall correctly, where you basically caught fire. I don't know the exact specifics, but I remember the table.
It was 6-handed.
Yeah, six-handed, where you just shot up the chip counts. What was that like? How did that happen?
Well, so 6-handed, I ended up becoming the shortest stack after. So because the players to my left are so aggressive, Tony Tran opened on my right, who also has a vulnerable stack. I called with aces, hoping that somebody behind takes the bait, but they didn't. And then we go heads up to, I believe, Queen 10 rag. So I had called with aces. So Tony bets, I call, turn comes a king, Tony checks, I bet, and he shoved. I instantly folded my hand. Like, I know Tony's not going to be messing around there. Like, one pair is just never going to be good. I show my aces, he shows Broadway with ace jack. And that leaves me with, I believe, like maybe 2.2 million in chips at a time where big blind is, I'm gonna guess around 80K, maybe 100. So like somewhere between 20 and 30 blinds. And fast forward a couple of hands, I'm in one of the blinds, and I look down as action. There's an open from Livingston in early position. In late position, the 3-bet. So I believe it was open to 500K. So big blind must have been 200K at the time. Wow, really? So there was an open. No, the 3-bet was so it must have been open to 225K, 3-bet to 600K, and then Tony Tran 4-bets to 1.8 million. And I'm sitting there with aces. It's like, you can't make this stuff up. It's like a dream. So I'm all in for 2.2. Livingston folds. The 3-better puts it all in for maybe 4 million, like puts Tony all in. And now, even though I have aces, I want Tony to fold because he already paid my stack. Like there's no, I don't want him in the hand anymore, obviously. He finally folds queens, and then I beat kings for what was almost a full triple up.
Right.
And then from then on, I actually eliminated everybody left. I eliminated Tony with kings to sixes. Then I won a huge flip with jacks to ace king. It was still tough. It was still a tough ride afterwards. Cade was tough all day, and then we played 3-handed for what seemed hours.
It was 4-handed in against Vanessa Kade, where I happened to be reporting at the time, so I captured this hand as it played out, and that was ultimately her elimination hand. That seemed to be, a big one. Obviously, it's one she's tweeted about where she might have some regrets. Long story short, she had aces. I believe you had 5-6 of spades, and ended up making a flush on the turn. Played it in a manner that when you shoved the river, you got paid off. She tanked and eventually did make the call. How crucial was that hand, do you think, to your ultimate success?
I mean, what led to that hand was we were playing 4-handed for a while, and she opens under the gun four-handed, and I got jacks in the big blind. And I'm maybe to her and to the table, it felt like I was being aggressive and picking spots, but I have jacks in the big blind, and I'm second. And I believe at the time I'm maybe tied for second. Kempton must have been short, and I just called with jacks, and then the board comes king, queen, queen. I check. She bets small. I call and I turn a jack. So I turn a full house and I check raise her. She calls, and I put myself. I'm all in on the river for probably about a pot-sized bet, and I'm not sure exactly what she had, but I believe she might have had tripped queens or at least the king. And she tanked a while and folded. And then I showed the rail my cards and threw it away. And it must have seemed to her and to the table that I'm just going a little crazy. It's maybe I bluffed her. And then fast forward another couple of orbits, and then the 5-6 of spades hand happens, where I limp small, she raises, I call, I check call a small bet on the flop, and I turn my flush and I lead out. She calls, and then now I put her all in. And she tanked a while, and she called it off. So I think the Jack's hand prior to that is what set that up, because maybe she felt like I was getting out of line. And then that hand got me, I believe, 2/3 of the chips in play. So at that point, I thought I was going to steamroll them, because I'm like, well, Livingston can't bust before Kempton. He has more chips. But they played great. They played tough. It didn't go as planned. I went straight back down to about 10 million. And, I didn't let it discourage me. I think that's where experience comes in. It's hard to go from the chip lead and then lose the chip lead in those spots, because you feel like it's all unraveling. But
Yeah.
I held it together, and it worked out.
I was happy to see it, because I was there. I watched it, and I got the same sense. I'm like, oh man, after you won that hand against Vanessa, I'm like, this is all over. He's going to close this out. The next thing you know, they had closed the gap, and then one of them took over the chip lead, and it's like, uh-oh. But yeah, like you said, the experience came into play. Ended up coming down to you and Isaac Kempton. And I can tell you, as a reporter who's worked that event, it's like, oh boy, buckle up. We're in for a long heads up match. That wasn't the case, because it was a cooler, I think, 3 or 4 hands in. You had aces and he had pocket jacks, and you kind of check called all the way down, and then that was it.
Yeah. I had a sense, I didn't have a great read. I didn't believe he had a good hand. So when I 3-bet him and then he 4-bet, I just called out of position. And, aces is a hand that's not very vulnerable to pre-flop. You could slow play it. And then when the board came, I believe 6-6-7 or 7-7-6, it was like the dream flop. And I felt like if I checked to him, that he was going to blast off. And that's exactly what happened. And it turns out he had a good hand, but I thought the king on the river was perfect, because if he doesn't have anything, he's going to try to make me fold some hands that I was being, stubborn with up to the river. And then he put it in with jacks, and my chips beat him into the pot.
Well, you sealed the deal for 1.6 million. I was there. It was a fun moment. Aaron Massey was on your rail. Johnny Bax, Cliff Josephy, who won one of the side events, he was there as well. However, afterwards, somebody on social media, and I don't know if you're aware of this, took a picture of your face and said, is this what it looks like to win 1.6 million, which I thought was pretty unfair. But so you're aware of all that, and what are your thoughts about it? And obviously I was there. I know you were excited.
I deleted Twitter a couple months ago, just to kind of get away from that kind of stuff. And so I become aware of it, and I'm reading, and I'm just whatever. It's a bunch of people I don't know talking about something that I know isn't true. I know how happy I am. I just take bad pictures. I'm not a great picture taker. I'm sorry. So, but I think a couple of my buddies, people I know, came to my defense, and it figured itself out.
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
It's funny because as I watched you play, I remember I thought to myself at one point, you reminded me of Johnny Moss, of all people. I've read a lot about Johnny Moss, obviously never met him, but how he was just, this stone-faced killer at the poker table, and just had that same statuesque look on his face the entire time. And you play with that same sort of look and intensity, in my opinion. And but like I said, I was there. I know you were clearly happy. It was an awesome moment, and I was really happy to see you take it down. I know we had talked on one of the breaks about you're a family man. I don't know if a lot of people know that about you, and recently added to your family just a few months ago, I think, if I recall correctly.
3-month baby girl at home. She's awesome.
Congratulations. I always think it's fun. So like last year, Andrew Moreno won the Wynn Millions, the first one. Yep. And him and Christy Arnett, Christy Moreno, formerly of PokerNews, were expecting their first child. Yeah. And so I don't know, maybe next year.
It's called Baby Run Good.
The Baby Run Good at the Wynn Millions.
It's a real thing. It exists. When I won my WPT, it was right after my first child was born. So it's a real thing.
I don't think there's less than 9 months before the WSOP, so no using the Baby Run Good for the WSOP. Are you going to be out in Vegas for the World Series of Poker? I mean, you got a WPT title now, you got to Win Millions, you got the online WPT title. Seems like a WSOP bracelet might be the next on the bucket list.
That would definitely be a dream come true. I started watching poker because of the WSOP, so 100% I'm going to be there. I'm planning on being there for most of the series, play most of the no limit events, maybe some PLO events. Looking forward to it.
Awesome, man. Well, I will see you out there. I hope I'm there when you ship a bracelet, and I was glad I was there when you won the 2022 Win Millions. Congratulations, man. I can't tell you how happy I was for you.
Thank you, Chad. Nice talking to you.